If you've been around the mascot horror scene for a while now, there's a high likelihood that you've come across the Bendy franchise. From its debut nearly 9 years ago, Bendy and the Ink Machine has become a staple in the mascot horror genre, from its unique art style to its interesting story and controversial conclusion. Being the big Bendy fan that I am, and if you've been a long-time viewer, you'll definitely know that, I decided to beat the entire game in one sitting without dying. Without further ado, let's begin with Chapter 1. Unsurprisingly, being the shortest of the chapters, Chapter 1 has no major choke points to look out for. Pretty sure you can't even die in the first chapter, unsurprisingly, so I sped through it, only stopping to play some darts in the break room. Now, this might be a bit overkill, but I did beat the game 13 times across 5 different platforms in the past couple years. A little bit much. Now, after powering on the Ink Machine, getting Bendy to jump scare us, and closing out the end of Chapter 1, with us fainting in the basement of the studio, we can move on to Chapter 2. Chapter 2, while also being short, doesn't pose as big of a threat as the chapters to come. Chapter 2 is when the first possible death can happen, from my knowledge. So far, nothing has had the ability to kill us. With combat being introduced, death is more likely than ever. Our main character, Henry, has a total of 6 HP. Some enemies will take 6 hits to kill us, some may take 2, and some can instantly end our run. Our first enemy encounter begins once we enter the music department. Here's when we have to fight a horde of searchers around the area to open the gate to Sammy's office. While they do die in one hit, they are a bit buggy due to their invincibility when they first spawn, and how easy it is for them to gang up on you. While I didn't inherently get down in 1 HP, I got a lot closer to death than I would have liked. To wind down, I went to the break room to play a round of pool as I grabbed Wally's keys out the trash. After opening the closet and finishing the music puzzle in the theater, the second horde of searchers spawned, and I made quick work of it. After slaying them all, I ran down to the infirmary to grab the valve out of the big searcher, whose name is Swollen Jack, quite a spiffy name. Crushing him beneath a large pallet of crates and complimenting his nice hat, I powered on the ink drain to stop the ink from blocking the entrance to Sammy's office. At this point in the run, I decided to hop on call with my friends so I wouldn't get bored, and my hands were hurting a bit, so I connected my controller to ease the pain. As I connected the controller and began to play, I can't even explain what the hell happened, so it's better if I just show you. I'm honestly not sure why this happened, so I reopened the game in big picture mode and that seemed to fix it. Although the mishap did end up resetting me back to before Jack was dead, so we did have to crush him under a pallet once more, compliment his hat once more, fix the ink drain, go into Sammy's office, and power on the pump so we can finally exit this place. But lo and behold, as I walked back to the stairwell, I got hit over the head by Sammy and taken to participate in a sick ritual. Here there are a few searchers that we make quick work of, but the biggest enemy here was none other than Bendy, the Ink Demon himself. We engage in chase as my axe is broken beyond repair and escape from his grasp just barely. As we meet with everyone's favorite wolf, Boris, we move on to Chapter 3. Chapter 3 is when this challenge really begins to ramp up, due to its sheer length, enemy encounters, and the variety of weapons, each with their own varying damage. Starting off, there's actually no enemy encounter in the first section of the game. Only when you reunite with Boris and Heavenly Toys do we encounter a new enemy type, Piper. Piper's a part of the Butcher Gang, which we get introduced to in this chapter. While each of them alone isn't really a problem, they really can gang up on you. It's also important to note that you do have an option to make this chapter more difficult early on in Heavenly Toys by choosing the Demon Path, which causes Bendy to appear more frequently. And is also one of the clauses for getting a powerful weapon towards the end of the chapter. The other clause being turning the ink blob before your first Alice Angel encounter into the Ink Machine. Another thing to note is that there's a secret boss you could fight in this chapter, but personally I did not do this in my run due to not researching the conditions. Anyway, as Alice sends us off to do her tasks, there isn't any major threat besides the chance of the Ink Demon spawning. Our first task takes us to level K, in which we have to find gears and gearboxes, with our only encounter being a Piper and a couple searchers, which you can easily fend off with the wrench. Next off, we have to visit level 11, where we need to retrieve 3 swollen ink blobs off searchers. This is the worst task in my opinion. The only danger here is Fisher, which deals the most damage out of the Butcher Gang members, and with the syringe dealing very little damage, you have to keep your distance in order to not die. Our third task takes us to level P, with possibly the most boring task of them all, turning valves. No, not that valve. These valves. A striker and a few searchers get in our way, but they're no match for the plunger. Due to how long it takes to finish these valve puzzles, there's a high likelihood for the ink demon to spawn, which did happen in my case. All you need to do is hide in a miracle station, and suddenly, you don't exist anymore to him. Returning to our trusty axe, we head back to level K and are tasked with destroying Bendy cutouts. There's 15 cutouts you have to destroy, with an extra one in the demon path room, which doesn't go towards your total count. It should be noted that the same enemies you encountered on your first task in level K do reappear, being the Piper and the Searchers. Bendy also does have the chance to spawn before you finish your task, which did also happen in my case. Once you finish destroying those gritting demons, Bendy has a scripted encounter no matter if he spawned while you're on level K or not. Simply hide in the miracle station closest to you in the Heavenly Toys lobby and wait for him to disappear. Returning to Alice, there's a scripted boss rush sequence with the Butcher gang. Take your time defeating them one by one and maintaining distance and you should be fine. Once that's over with, and if you haven't died up until this point, while choosing the demon path and changing the blob of ink to the ink machine, you gain access to the best weapon in the game, the Tommy gun. Going down to level 14 for our final task, we meet the Projectionist, an enemy who can two-shot Henry. You can kill him with the gent pipe, taking around 40 hits I believe, but we go with the Tommy gun due to it being a safer option and taking way less time to kill him. With the Projectionist dealt with, this task becomes a cakewalk. Simply collect the 5 ink hearts and return up to Alice. She promises you freedom, but since she has Snow Bunny mind control, she gaslights us, crashes the elevator onto level S, kidnaps our buddy Boris, and ends chapter 3.
Alright, Joey. I'm here. Let's see if we can find what you wanted me to see.
Continuing with the trend of longer chapters, chapter 4 surprisingly doesn't have that many enemy encounters. Up until the Bendy Hell section, there's one Bendy encounter and you physically cannot die during this encounter. During our little carnival fun time section in Bendy Hell, there's multiple carnival games for Henry to play, which powers on the first door and the first switch we need to flip on. One of these games is a shoot the target game, and for those of you who don't know, I used to be pretty good at first person shooters. I disconnected my controller at this point to try and aura farm by hitting all the targets, but in all 3 of my attempts, my game would randomly lag, which has never happened when I've played this game. With that embarrassment out the way, we make our way to the research and design sector. Here Henry uses cans to distract the Butcher gang, and we have a lever and a switch we need to throw on. Normally, you can breeze through this section with good RNG, but I have to play it carefully due to the tight spaces you can get trapped in. Initially, I went to the lever first by mistake, when you need to turn on the switch, then the lever, and I got that order mixed up. A few empty cans of soup later, I managed to get both the lever and the switch turned on without much trouble. Next up in the attraction storage, we face up against Bertram Piedmont, the creator of Bendyland. Here we gain access to All Reliable, the axe. Bertram here has 16 HP, with each of his bolts being 1 HP. You could also fight this boss with the empty bacon soup cans from before. Getting greedy in this fight can quickly end in a death, and I got my fair share of close calls due to not playing it carefully. Turning on the third switch, we gain access to the last section before the haunted house, being maintenance. Here we can see the Projectionist, even if you killed him in chapter 3. Here, you need to turn on a switch which raises these boxes blocking the stairs to gain access to the upstairs section, and throw on a lever while you're up there. When you turn the switch to raise the boxes blocking the stairs, no matter where he is, the Projectionist will automatically aggro onto you. You're meant to backtrack to the entrance and hide in the miracle station there, but I don't give a fuck about none, and book it straight to the upstairs and immediately throw on the lever. Once the lever is thrown on, the Projectionist will not aggro on you until you exit the maintenance sector. On the way down, I grabbed a quick picture by sticking my head out the standee and made my way towards the miracle station, as the Projectionist will kill you if you do not hide in time. Here, he attempts to open the miracle station and kill you, but he didn't realize Bendy was crazy at Mortal Kombat and gets killed once more. As Bendy drags away the Projectionist's lifeless corpse, we can finally enter the haunted house where we can finally reunite with Boris? This isn't the Boris we once knew, rather, Brute Boris, a monstrosity created by Alice to take us down. The fight is relatively simple with 3 phases, although you do have to play it very carefully as Brute Boris packs quite the punch. His first 2 phases aren't that bad, as his attacks are quite straightforward and very forgiving, unlike phase 2 of Consort Radon. Phase 3 is the most nerve-wracking, as the cart he throws do one-shot Henry. Just move in one direction as he winds up and he should miss you. Finally, after sliming out my homeboy, the crazy snow bunny Alice runs at Henry, but due to the law of equivalent exchange, the 10 out of 10 Alice and her homeboy slime out her sub 5 counterpart to save the day. With no time to grieve my homeboy Boris's noble sacrifice, we start the final chapter of our run. Here we are, the final chapter, and by far the hardest chapter of them all. We have our first choke point as early as 5 minutes into the chapter, with the boat segment. While on paper, the segment really isn't that hard, my nerves had been building up as we got here. Normally every few seconds the boat comes to a halt, and you need to hit all the ink blobs to get the boat up and running while the giant bendy hand chases behind you. Now this wouldn't be that bad if I didn't miss hitting one of the blobs. This shot my nerves up real high, but luckily it didn't happen again, calming me down. Immediately after this segment, we reach the second choke point, the Sammy Lawrence and Co fight. Sammy does hit quite hard as he throws multiple swings of his axe, so keeping distance and disengaging is crucial. After a few hits, his mask will fall off and he runs away. This is where you need to chase him rather than vice versa. While this isn't part of the fight, I usually stall this part of the fight to call my friend Gauze, who's been a long time member of this channel, so we can reenact an old stream clip from long ago.
Where's his face at, bro? He's so insecure, he won't even show his face.
Luckily, he was in call with me playing Geometry Dash, so as I waited for him to finish his attempt, we got an updated version of that old clip.
Yo, where's his face at, bro? He's so insecure, he won't even show his face.
Immediately after Sammy's taken out by Tom, you're thrown into the boss wave of Searchers and Lost Ones. In order to complete this section, you need to kill more Searchers and Lost Ones than Allison and Tom without dying. Luckily, this is a deathless run after all, so that's over with quickly. My biggest tip for this section is to keep your distance, as getting too close can cause multiple enemies to gang up on you, leaving you with a couple close calls like I had myself. After falling a distance that should have killed you, you'll find yourself at the film vault. Our biggest adversity here is that we have no weapon, and the Butcher Gang is here for blood. Surprisingly, you can simply outrun them. And with the amount of paths you can take, this section isn't hard at all. Just remember to immediately hide in the Miracle Station once you return to the entrance. Repeat this process 3 times to get enough swollen ink to produce the pipes you need. Now, after reuniting with Allison and Tom in the film vault, we reach the final segment of this game, the Ink Machine. The Ink Machine is home to the biggest choke point of the entire run, and what has always killed off any of my previous attempts, Beast Bendy. To keep it short and sweet, Beast Bendy is quite unpredictable. He spawns at a random position and runs in a straight line until he hits a wall. Despite his speed, you can use this to your advantage. Sticking to the walls is key to not getting one hit by him. And the spot where he'll run next, an ink portal will appear on the wall he comes out of. Patience is also key, as rushing things will most certainly cause death here. Once you throw on all 4 levers, make your way to the room with the 4 ink pillars. Don't worry, as Bendy cannot follow you to there. Upon entering the room, the pillars will flow with ink and Beast Bendy will appear. Simply hide behind those 4 pillars and have him bash into each of them. Once he slams into the 4th pillar, the room goes dark and he disappears. Now, you've finally done it. You return to the throne room, play the end reel, and that's the end of our run. Now, without further ado, I present to you all of Bendy and the Ink Machine, Deathless. Cue the music! thank you all for watching this video. It was really a blast to revisit this game once more and complete it another time. As always, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, as your support is greatly appreciated. Make sure to also join the Discord server I've linked below to never miss a stream or upload of mine. Again, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out, fellas.